Hello and welcome back to another day on the island hidden in the fog. I've been having a lot of fun building lately, so we're gonna do another build today. I've had a build idea in my head for quite some time now, so I think today we're actually going to do it, but it does require us kicking out a villager in order to do it. Then I'll be heading to a treasure island to pick up our new villager. This might take a little bit of time to do, so let's get right to it. And the thought bubble hunt begins. Aw, everyone's hanging out in the plaza, how cute! So far no one has a thought bubble, so we might need to go to tomorrow. I did in fact time travel to the next day, so hopefully we find a thought bubble. We've got Maple doing yoga in the plaza 2 days in a row, and Rodeo working out in the woods while Ruby watches? Okay, not judging. It's looking like we might need to time travel another day. I didn't realize I had an island full of gym rats. Technically, we have time traveled 2 days on the island. But we have a thought bubble and it's on Rod? Oh my gosh, this is perfect and a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. I think this means that now I have finally fixed all of my villager mistakes. And hopefully we don't have any more villager hunting mishaps. Rod is officially moved out, so let's head to a treasure island and get our new villager. We made it to the treasure island. Any guesses on who I'm picking up today? We've only got 3 Dreamies left that we're looking for, which is Blair, Lucky, and Wart Jr. And today we're getting one of my favorites, Lucky. Let's head on in and tell him he can move to our island. Hello, Lucky. It's been a long time since I've had you on one of my islands, and I can't wait to have you back. We now have 8 out of our 10 Dreamies. We only have 2 left to hunt for. How exciting! Well, since today is mostly a build video, I'm gonna head back to the island and get Lucky all moved in, and then I will catch you later when it's time to finally start building. Oh, how cute! Lucky's already out and about making friends, and they're collecting wood together. Don't get too attached though, Lucky. Word on the street is he's gonna be moving soon. Speaking of moving, I need to grab Lucky's housing kit so we can get him into his forever home. Lucky won't be moving into the neighborhood, so we won't be getting that finished today, but I do have some interesting ideas for builds that we can do around Lucky's house. I've got Lucky's moving kit in my pocket, so now I'm gonna take you to where we're gonna be placing his house. Though I'm gonna have to do a lot of cleanup before we can place it, but I won't make you sit through that. Man, I don't know how long that took, but it took a decent amount of time to get this whole area cleaned up. And now my pockets are full of trees, so for a little bit of the decorating, we'll probably have to shuffle a couple items around because I don't have enough room in my pockets to hold anything else. Let me show you around a little bit because we have a very large area to work with, and it's technically not going to be 1 build or 2 builds, but most likely 3 builds. And we're definitely not going to be finishing all of that today, so it might be done in 1 or 2 videos, but for today, we're going to be working on one section that'll be behind Lucky's house. I wasn't able to fit these bushes in my pockets, but that's okay because we're going to use pretty much most, if not all of them, so we'll just dig them up when we need them. And then down here at the bottom of the stairs, I have my workbench and tool shed just in case we need anything else. First thing I'm going to do is separate the different building areas by placing down some fencing. Now you might be wondering what exactly it is we're going to be building today, and I'm about to tell you. I want this island to be a little spooky, or like it's holding some secrets at least, and I don't feel like we've done any spooky builds, so this will be our first. And we're building a cemetery. I've got the cemetery area all fenced off, now we just need to put an entrance in. I feel like Lucky is perfect for this build being the cemetery caretaker, considering he has a full gravestone inside the middle of his house, so he's gonna be right at home here. I'm a little sad we don't have gates in this game because I think this would be the perfect spot for one, but I think we can make this stone arch work. Just a couple more scooches and then we'll move on to placing Lucky's house. Lucky's house is going to be snuggled up to the entrance, so that way it looks like you're supposed to stop there before just walking into the cemetery, and also he'll be able to have room on the left side for a little yard. We will get around to doing some light decorating for Lucky's front yard, but we're gonna have to finish most of it on another day, because I can already tell that this cemetery is going to take me a long time to build. And before we get into that, let's time travel and get Lucky's house in here. I think that is the perfect spot for Lucky's house. Let's lay a little pathing down. I want a larger pathway that goes from the staircase to the entrance of the cemetery and probably through the cemetery, and then a smaller path branching off of the main path that leads to Lucky's house. I have a small feeling that when this area is fully built, it's going to lag from how many items will be placed here. So to hopefully help make sure that doesn't happen, I'm going to try to use one of the in-game paths versus a custom code. But we'll see how long that lasts before I cave and start using custom codes again. Well, I could not get the in-game pathing to look right, so I ended up using a custom code. But I think this looks really cute, so it'll be worth it if there's a little bit of lag. Now time to make a bit of pocket space by planting a bunch of bushes and trees. Now that Lucky's house is placed and I have a bit of pocket room, we can finally start on building the cemetery. We have this cute little water feature already in the back of the cemetery, and this looks like the perfect spot to place a well. Now we're going to place a few trees to make this seem a little bit more like a forest. I want this to be like a hidden outlook area, where you can catch a glimpse of the canyon, but I also kind of want to hide the canyon since in this area it's not the main focus. Now let's use some custom codes to make a little path that takes you straight to the well. I think a little rock path or stepping stones would be really cute. I think I might try a few different options out and see which one I like best. And time to add in a few more trees. We'll let the medium trees grow in a little bit. I've been staring at the trees for a while and I think I've decided to remove one of these medium trees and replace it with a decayed tree. I think that'll help this area feel more spooky and unkempt. Well, I feel like if Lucky were the cemetery caretaker, he would keep the area looking quite nice. So maybe he's not in charge of the cemetery, he just happens to live close by. Maybe Lucky owns an antique shop. I think having an antique shop on the island would be so cute. Let me just finish up with this custom code and get the decayed tree placed. Now I think we have enough of a base in the cemetery that we can go ahead and start placing gravestones. Right now I'm mostly focused on the layout and I'll get custom codes put in later. I want the left side of the cemetery to feel older than the right side, so we're going to be placing a lot of moss-covered items and not making a designated walking path. And I'll probably also place a few weeds and flowers too. I think I'm just going to place down all of the moss-covered stone items that I'm going to be using as gravestones and shuffle them around until I find an order that I like. Well, I took a little bit of a break and now we're in the middle of a storm. I have a feeling I'm probably going to end up time traveling later on today for some reason, so hopefully when I do, we end up on a day with some good weather, and we're not stuck in this storm for too long. I've decided that now is actually a really good time to put in the path for the right side of the cemetery, because we now have a rough idea of how big the left older side of the cemetery is going to be, and I kind of need to know the walking path for the right side of the cemetery so I know where to put the gravestones. I already know this path is going to take me a while, so I'll catch back up with you when it's pretty much all the way done and we can continue decorating. Now that the path is done, we can go ahead and place some dirt patches underneath these gravestones to give a more weathered feel. I think placing a few plucked flowers in front of a couple of the gravestones would help give this cemetery a little bit more lived-in vibe and help make it feel not so lonely, since this is a spooky island and not a sad island. The left side is looking pretty good, though I will need to add some flowers and other decorations later on. But for right now, we can go ahead and get started on the right side of the cemetery and place all of the leftover gravestones that we have and try and find a layout that works best. I'm going to try and stagger the different types of gravestones as best as I can, so that way we don't have two of the same kind or same color near each other. I'm going to try and start incorporating more storage sheds into my build, so that way I have a whole bunch of them around the island and I won't really need to carry one in my pockets anymore. I think I pretty much have all of the gravestones laid out, so now I'm going to go ahead and add some more trees to make a little bit more space in my pockets for other decoration items. At some point I'll come back through here and add some more dirt splotches underneath these gravestones, but I won't make you sit through that. I want each gravestone to feel unique, so we're also going to be using some potted flowers. And back to more trees. I just got back from my flower beaches and unfortunately have way less black flowers than I thought I did, so we're gonna need to place some of these in a way where they can multiply. And then later I'll come over here and I'll scoop them up and replant them in a different location. And of course we can't have a water source without a duck on top of a puddle. And we can't forget one of our half-hidden bunny friends. I think now is a great time to time travel to another day that's a bit more sunny and a little less rainy and see how the cemetery is coming along. It already looks so much better with all the trees grown in. I think it's looking really good so far. I still need to come through and place a lot of custom codes so the flowers don't grow like crazy, but I'm really happy with how much we accomplished today. I think I'll do a little bit of a slower walkthrough and probably place a few more bushes while I'm at it, and then I'll take off for the day. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me while we continue to build the island. I hope you enjoyed the build, and if you have any other spooky build ideas, please let me know. Enjoy the somewhat chaotic walkthrough, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!